Hello, Kando devs. First of all, thank you for giving me access to your game and letting me test it out. I've been playing a lot in the last week, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit so far. I've been playing pretty much every night. That said, I do have some feedback that I hope can help you guys make the game better, and I thought it would just be easiest to share that in a video form. My first talking point is with the combat, and I've been told that you guys are working on making that experience smoother, which is great. I think that definitely needs to happen. The actual mechanics of fighting, I think, are fine. There are just two small problems that I find really frustrating, and the first one is if I go up and I auto attack this guy, if I wait until I see the number appear above his head and then immediately after that I initiate one of my abilities, I stop attacking for some reason. I'll see if I can show an example of that. Kind of messed it up there, but I did get it on like the second or third attack there. I'll try to do it again on the first attack. Once you get the timing down, it is a very repeatable thing. Right there. So my guy's not attacking anymore. I haven't clicked anything. All I've pressed is the button 1. And my guy has now completely stopped attacking until I click on him again. So that's something that's been really frustrating because as I'm fighting, I don't want to have to think about, like, in the last week, I've been trying to time my attacks almost like this is a rhythm game, and I've been like waiting for the auto attack, and then after the auto attack is gone, I'll wait a second and then press it in between the two auto attacks. And it's, I think it'd be better, and I'm sure it's probably more intended, like what you guys intend, is if I can just press 1 or 2 whenever the cooldown is ready, and then just whenever the next available time is for him that he can attack, I don't know how to say that better, that's when my attack should actually go off. So that has been causing me some problems. The other one, and I've only experienced this in a boss fight, I'll see if it happens against a normal mob. But as I'm auto-attacking, let's say I'm losing this fight, and then I decide I want to run away. I start running away, and I was just holding W and A there that whole time I was trying to run away. I started running away, and then it looks like my guy stops to throw out one more auto-attack. And then after he throws out the auto attack, he'll continue running. That feels pretty bad. I think you should allow for movement while the character's fighting. It seems like movement gets disabled during auto attacks, and I don't think that feels good. Now I do understand there might be a concern there with maybe people being able to abuse like movement mechanics. I'm not that far into the game. I don't know if that's actually something that can happen or not. But I do know that stopping while trying to flee feels very bad. Now the next issue is gonna be kind of a complex one, but I think the best way to show it off, the complexity of this issue, is just to kill a couple enemies here. Alright, so let's say I've killed that walker. Now if I try and loot that bag and this guy's on top of it, it's very hard for me to click that bag. And if I just decide to kill him, his bag drops on top of that bag, and then I can't get that bag anyway. Which can be pretty annoying, especially when, like, you know, there could have been a rare drop in that bag, and I never would have known. It also happens, you know, I've been cutting down trees while being attacked by enemies before, and then the tree gets chopped down, and there's an enemy on top of the tree, and I can't click on the tree and get my loot. So then I kill the enemy and his bag drops on top of the tree and I still can't get my loot from the tree. So that can be pretty annoying. I think a good solution, and I know you guys are trying to build this on mobile too, so hear me out. A good solution is adding a right-click function. As far as I know, right-click doesn't do anything right now, but I think if you added a right-click function, and if you right-click on a guy, it shows you all of the options available for the square that you clicked on. And then you can choose an option. If you can see all of your options and choose one, that will cause a lot less frustration of like panic clicking and just trying to click like whatever your character will click on. Because I've also had the problem of trying to click on enemies that are too close to a tree or something, and then my character tries to attack the tree instead of the enemy. And this problem exists in RuneScape too, and their right-click menu helps a lot. I use their right-click menu for almost everything I do in that game. Now, while we're on that topic, one more thing to consider is little mouse icons. RuneScape I don't think has this built in. I think this came from a plugin on RuneLite. But just changing the mouse to some kind of icon gives me so much information. Like, I can know for 100%, I can be 100% sure that if I click right here, I'll go to the furnace. And you can see right there, I was actually hovering tree for a second, and instantly I knew that's not what I want. I just got to move the mouse a little bit, and that's what I'm looking for. So having something like that can also be very helpful. And then again, if I am hovering both of these at the same time and right click, I can see that was slightly incorrect. But if I right click here, there's actual multiple things I can do here. I can either smelt the furnace, or maybe what I actually wanted to do was chop that tree. So then I can choose that from the menu and go and get the tree. And that's very helpful. That would be very helpful with clusters of enemy and loot all being on top of each other. That would give a lot more control to the player, which is usually a plus. Now, of course, if you are on mobile, you can add that menu if the player taps and holds on an enemy. That is an option. But one more thing I've noticed, and I think the game is this way because it's designed to work on mobile too. If I click this enemy, If I click this enemy while he's not selected, all it does is show me his name up here. I'm assuming it's that way so that on mobile you can tap on stuff just to check it out. And while I'm playing on mobile, that makes sense and it does feel good. But while I'm playing on PC, it's strange clicking on something and then having my character do nothing. It also feels a bit inconsistent. Because let's say something like that just happened where I clicked on him, I didn't attack, I thought I was going to attack. Or maybe I clicked on him, I didn't want to attack, I just wanted to check on him, but then he fights me. And then I run away, I break contact, maybe I check something in my inventory. So I click on this guy and I'm viewing him. And then maybe I run away from this guy, right? And then I think, okay, let's start that over. And I click on him once to view him, but then my guy runs in to attack him. Now, we all know the reason is because I had already selected him, but it's very easy to kind of forget that he's already selected while I'm playing the game. So it's kind of an awkward system, and I think the right-click menu will fix that too. And you could add in RuneScape on mobile has added these little buttons on the side where it's almost like a caps lock while you're typing on a keyboard. They called them hotkeys. So in RuneScape, they've got a hotkey for dropping items, and you click it, and it remains highlighted. Now, your inventory is glowing red, and any item you click in your inventory will be dropped on one tap. And that kind of solves the problem of the awkwardness of tapping and holding on mobile, and then having a menu appear, and then trying to select something while you're still tapping and holding, because that is a bit awkward. And so that hotkey helps with that a lot when you're trying to drop a lot of items. You could add a hotkey on your mobile game, your mobile version of this game, that if it's highlighted and you click anything, then all you do is examine it. Or maybe if you added that right-click menu, then if you have the hotkey selected and you click an enemy, then the right-click menu opens. Hopefully that made sense. That was kind of a lot. But the bottom line is I think a right-click menu needs to be a thing that exists. Now, a little bit of a smaller one, but definitely still a point of frustration, is just with the size of these colliders on all of your objects. I don't know, maybe it's on the player, maybe it's on the object, I'm not entirely sure. But I like to use WASD to move, and thank you for including that as an option, because I think that's great. But as I'm moving across the world and I'm moving to my objective, I'm not really thinking about where I'm moving or how close I am to objects and how I'm rounding corners and stuff. I'm thinking about my destination. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do when I get there. So as I'm walking, I'm kind of actually on autopilot. Like my fingers are just kind of pressing the buttons I know where I'm going, but I'm not thinking about the exact spot that I'm like stepping onto, right? So as I'm like getting close to corners and I'm trying to move up right here, I'm holding W and my guy's not doing anything. And in my head, subconsciously, I definitely think that I should be able to walk right here. I'm not thinking that the collider actually extends out to this, so I actually have to walk around it. Now I don't know how big the colliders are on the people, maybe shrinking the colliders on the people could be a way to fix this. I don't think you need to go around and shrink the colliders on every single building, but maybe just in the future, just keep in mind, like, I don't think there's any problem if I'm able to be like face to face with this, or even if I clip into it a little bit, I think is even fine. Like I said, I'm kind of like subconsciously moving almost, so when that gets interrupted, it's just kind of a like point of frustration. Especially with stuff like this sign, like it definitely feels like I should be able to walk behind it. I can't walk behind this sign till I get all the way up here, which doesn't feel quite right. So those are definitely the biggest ones. Those ones are definitely the ones that actually kind of cause a little bit of frustration, and I definitely consider them all to be annoyances. Now, this next one I think might be the last one. This is definitely more of a suggestion, but I do think that this would improve the game. It has to do with your crafting menu. Now, I love crafting in games. I'm a big fan of crafting being in games. I think it almost always adds to the game, and instead of taking away from it, as long as it's done well. And I think yours is done well. I love that I can throw in any items in here, and like even if I don't have the recipe, I can discover a recipe. And when I'm actually like building up something, like when I was crafting necklaces, I was having fun with that, because I'm like, okay, I need to make the mold first, and then I need to get some flax and turn it into string, and then I need to find a gem, and then I need to combine the mold and the gem together, and like all those steps I think is a very fun process. Now, what I think is a little bit of a problem, or at least could be improved upon, is just the fact that there are so many skills that are leveled right here in this menu. I mean, alchemy, cooking, crafting, and smithing are all trained by clicking this button. Now, I do think all of these skills should be trained in a menu anyways, and they are different a little bit in the sense that to train smithing, I have to gather items first by mining. To train cooking, I have to gather items first by fishing, or maybe getting ice cream or getting snow and berries, you know. So there is like that level of differentiation between the skills. So like that's nice, that is good. But I think it needs just a little bit more differentiation. And I think a good way to do that would be by adding stations throughout the world, similar to how RuneScape has cooking stations and anvils around the world. So you'd have a similar menu to this, but it would appear at a crafting station, and maybe it would look a little bit different. And I had a specific idea for the cooking, and I think I saw somebody talk about this in the Discord as well. Make a fire real quick. I have no gripes about how you make a fire. I think this system is fine. And right off the bat, I thought it was really weird how you could only make one fish per fire. I think that is a little bit odd. So the idea I had that would solve both that issue of it being strange to a new player and a way of differentiating cooking from crafting was, let's say I click on this and then a fire is placed on the ground in the world somewhere, and then I can click on the fire and then a menu kind of like this opens up. Oh, whoa, what's this? Where'd this come from? Definitely didn't prepare it just for this video because I have nothing better to do, but it can be very similar to your crafting menu, but just a little bit different. So I was thinking like maybe all of your fires have an HP or remaining heat, or call it whatever, you know, whatever you think is best. This is a broken fire as an example. It would have a low HP, like 3, and maybe each fish has like a heat or HP requirement for your fire. So like something like raw fish would only be 1. So you could cook 3 small fish on a broken fire. But maybe something like bass costs 3. So if you cooked 1 bass, it would take your entire broken fire. You could also have another slot. This is just kind of an idea, some way to differentiate it from crafting. I got this idea from 7 Days to Die. You make a campfire and then you go and you find tools to put on the campfire, like a cooking pot and a frying pan and a grill. So maybe there's different recipes that require a different item to be in this slot. So maybe fish require a frying pan, and maybe there's like stews that require a cooking pot. Something like that. Just throwing some stuff out there. And then for smithing, I don't really have many ideas for smithing. It could look just like the crafting menu, but maybe you need to be holding a hammer in your hand. Pretend this knife is a hammer to actually interact with the anvil, which I know is just like RuneScape. So maybe you guys can come up with something more creative, but that's just what I had off the top of my head. Yeah, I think that is about it. Those are definitely my biggest criticisms so far, and really my only ones. I can't think of really anything other than that. Besides those things, I am really enjoying the game, and I'm going to definitely continue playing it. So I guess all I have left to say is keep up the good work, and I'm going to go kill some zombies till I hit level 20.